About 2,200 kilometers from the North Pole and almost 400 above the Arctic Circle, there is a city where the sun never sets. With its 70,000 inhabitants, makes it the most populous city in those latitudes. Located in the middle of the Aurora Borealis arc, the Arctic capital is situated. Tromsø, in Norway, experiences the extreme of the seasons. In summer, during the months of May until late June, the phenomenon of the midnight sun is experienced. During winter, between the months of November and January, precisely at this time of the year we are currently in, the polar night is experienced. A period of approximately 50 days during which its inhabitants will not see the sunlight. In this city of extremes, the average temperature in winter is -7 degrees Celsius, dropping to feel as low as -15. However, for its inhabitants who had been living in this place for at least 3,200 years, everything passes. Everything is progressing normally. Transport, hospitals, supermarkets, churches, restaurants, hotels, banks, and even gas stations. And everything, absolutely everything, happens without sunlight. Do you want to see what life is like in this city where every day is night and remains frozen under extreme temperatures? Well, from now on, I invite you to join me until the end of this video. Friends, good morning. If I can say good morning to you because, as you can see, it is completely nighttime. And it is because in the city where I am today, the sun will not rise. We are not going to see a single drop of sunlight. Hello everyone, how are you? And welcome to a new video. A pleasure. If you don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Frank Komlerus, and today I am welcoming you from Tromsø, a city located in the north of Norway and is considered the capital of the Arctic Circle. This city is located within the Arctic Circle. I am recording this video from the very North Pole. Before explaining a little about this phenomenon, I have to tell you that Tromsø is about 70,000 inhabitants, and they do not see the sunlight from October 27th until January 14th. They are months spent in total darkness and with very cold temperatures. If you notice, right now I am not wearing the clothes I bought. Commonly you see me use. I have a hat that protects my ears and my head. I have a fleece clothing right now to keep me warm. I can almost lose my fingers if I don't hurry up with this presentation, but it's going to be very cold. The city of Tromsø is located approximately 2,200 kilometers toward what is the North Pole. Then we are very close together. Right now I want to show you on my phone that it's 9:20 in the morning, and I want you to see how the sky looks. Completely in the dark. And it's just that the weather app says it. The sun is not going to come out today. And that's how it has been happening in the last 7 days. From now on, and before I lose my fingers, I want to invite you to the end of this video. I want you to accompany me to discover what life is like in the most populous city within the North Pole. How is the lifestyle? How are its inhabitants? How does human life unfold in a city where the sun does not come out? That's right, friends. We are going to find out in this video. As you can imagine, life in a city where it never gets light, and where the thermometer rarely exceeds 0 degrees Celsius. It must be very different from any of us. Archaeological studies suggest that the area has had human settlements for about 9,000 years. But it was not until 3,200 when the presence of a Nordic community developed in the southeast of the region. The fastest, most practical, and economical way to get to Tromsø is by plane from Oslo, the capital of Norway. The flights cover 1,116 kilometers, and they take 1 hour and 55 minutes. In this airport, around 1,254 flights land per month. That is 42 flights per day. This is due to the number of people who come in search of the northern lights. Look, before I start showing you the whole city and how it is to live in darkness, I want to tell you a very interesting piece of information. And the polar night brings several mental disorders for a person who has never experienced it. If you are from here in Tromsø or from any country, what is inside the Arctic Circle and experiencing the polar night? You have no problem. But when they are new people, severe depression can develop after several studies have been conducted. That's why the type of houses on this side of the world can be somewhat different. And I want to explain to you why. If you notice, all that you're seeing there are houses that are very close to where we are going to spend the night. And an interesting fact is that all the lights are completely switched on, no matter what time of day it is, whether we are with light or not. What happens with this is that Norwegians have the theory that since it's always dark, leaving a light on a little bit in your house gives you the feeling that it's daytime, above all, so that you don't lose the spirit or the feeling of being able to see the sunlight through your window. It is what they try to recreate. It was around 10:45 in the morning, and we could already appreciate the maximum amount of light we were going to receive all day. The most curious thing was to appreciate all the houses and apartments in the area completely illuminated. To get to the city center, the fastest way was to take bus number 28. The cost of a trip is 60 Norwegian crowns, which, if changed to euros, is 6 euros. Not cheap at all. That's right. Something that caught my attention. It sees that all the stops, they are very close to each other. This to prevent people from walking too far. At such low temperatures, and after a journey of approximately 15 minutes, we were already arriving at the city center. Look, I want you to see the same thing that I am seeing, because we have arrived at the center of Tromsø, and this that you see here behind, it is the stop where you take the bus. The route we took was approximately about 15 minutes. It wasn't much. The most important thing is the stops. They are not with heating or anything. They are literally a sign in which you have to stop and wait for the bus. An important piece of information. You have to be very bundled up. Being outdoors and having to wait maybe 10, 15, 20 or 25 minutes, it forces you to stay warm because you don't have any other choice. Either you dress warmly or you freeze. There is so much snow in most places that you realize they don't really bother to remove it, but rather to learn to deal with it, mainly because it will be with this snow at this temperature for a few long months. If my hands don't freeze before I want to take the opportunity to show you the money here in Norway. Although it is a country located in Europe, Norway itself does not belong to the European Union yet. And this means that it does not have the euro as its official currency, but rather the Norwegian krone. I want to tell you that approximately 10 Norwegian kroner equal 1 euro, and the design is nothing out of this world. It has a lighthouse. On the other hand, here it is a little bigger. 200 crowns is approximately 20 euros more or less, and in terms of design, it is a little bigger than the one from Norway, and it has a fish that stands out very well. This helps us understand a bit better how the currency works here in Norway. Take them to a gas station. Right there behind you will find the prices, and if you notice, the gasoline is priced at around 21 kroner, which would be about 12.10 euros per liter. And regarding diesel, it has a price of 23 crowns with 30 cents. If we calculate, it would be about 2 euros with 30 cents per liter. I hear a lot of people complaining in Madrid, Spain, about the price of gasoline. Obviously, airplanes have nothing to do with it, but here it is over 2 euros per liter of fuel to put in your car, and another one of the many products that we can find here is this one here that I'm not exactly sure about, that it contains, but is to remove the ice and that the floor is not slippery. We hadn't had anything for breakfast yet, and we thought it would not be a good idea because it is a more economical place that we could find, bearing in mind that Norway is one of the most expensive countries in the whole of the European continent. So simpler cost 39 crowns, while a bottle of Coca-Cola 49. Then we saw the option of 12 sausages for 40 crowns, and it was the one that convinced us the most we paid. We put a little ketchup on it and took advantage of eating inside the place so that our hands would not freeze with the temperatures outside. The total price was 89 crowns. Minutes since we entered to the gas station to when we left, and you can already notice a lot the difference in the amount of light being received in the city. It feels like it is getting darker much faster. Approximately within an hour, if there is absolutely nothing, I want to take out my phone and show you that it's only 12:57. I don't know why, but I have the feeling that I have been awake for about 45 hours. Already the sun has left my body on the ground. We have one day ahead of us. Well, actually we have a whole night ahead of us. In the coming days we will be here. I want to take this opportunity to show you that my phone right now, my wallpaper displays the real-time location of where we are, and that area happens to be dark, meaning it is not receiving sunlight. It is curious to be in a place like this, and the cold is starting to be felt much more. As the minutes passed, the amount of light we received decreased, and this brought with it the decrease in temperatures. Therefore, we felt much colder. The even more surprising thing was to see how the city continued with total normality. The people on the streets, public transportation, and even cars filled with snow. But apparently it was not a concern. In this city, a normal day was unfolding. And precisely to understand how life develops in the North Pole with total normality, we took the opportunity to visit the Polar Museum. We have possibly arrived at the place that is going to make us understand perfectly how life can be here in Tromsø, and a bit of the history and the origin of this city. Mainly because at the back is the Polar Museum here in Tromsø. I am very excited. Right there is a seal on the outside, and they are projecting some images here. So we are going to go inside to discover it much better. The Polar Museum of Tromsø is one of the most characteristic sites of this city. This small museum recreates the evidence, the Arctic expeditions, and capturing in the Arctic Sea. It is located in an old customs house next to a dock in the year 1830. Tromsø has been a seal hunting center in Norway and a starting point for many polar expeditions. Today is a cultural place and a reference point for expeditions. Inside the museum, you can learn about a display of the essential boats and equipment at sea, as well as expeditions to the North Pole. The Polar Museum offers several exhibitions, themes such as hibernation in the Arctic, whale hunting between 1600 and 1700, and the first woman in the Arctic winter. In addition to large-scale models, you will be able to appreciate up close the skins and fur of many animals. But the most surprising one in my case was that of the polar bear, a very thick layer that helps you understand how they withstand such low temperatures. Undoubtedly a place that is a must-stop on your visit to the North Pole.
I want you to see how the sky looks right now. It's a bit blue. There is like a little bit of light. It almost arrives, but it's not light yet. And you already get the feeling that it's 12 or 11 at night. And actually, it's not like that. I want you to see right now it's 2:18 in the afternoon. And I'm starting to get the feeling as if it were time for me to go to bed. Buses, public transportation, people in the streets, bars, restaurants. Having the feeling that I already want to go to sleep. I want you to see right there behind. I think the camera is even a little foggy. What is happening is that the wind is moving all the snow that remains on the roofs, and it makes it come outwards. That's what's causing so much wind. You believe how this atmosphere right now throughout the city, that they are like very tiny pieces of ice being thrown at your face. We have now reached Hawk Lion. Just behind me is the northernmost brewery on the planet Earth. It's a quite popular brewery here in Tromsø, and I think it's better to go in while checking the temperature outside with the snow falling and everything becoming overwhelming. It becomes stressful just having to take your hands out of your pockets and see how all the ice is falling on your face. So I propose to enter a slightly warmer place and try a typical beer from here. It is incredible to be inside this brewery, which is considered the most extensive on planet Earth. And to top it off, it has a variety of almost 100 completely different beers. There is an extremely large variety on a chalkboard. And what I do like about the place is how warm it is. Upon arrival, it is a very warm temperature. Everything is toasty. I took off all the coats, everything I had. So let's approach the bar to see what we order and try an authentic Norwegian beer, or at least have one within the North Pole. All the variety of beers you can choose from and how big the bar and place are. So, if you look, all that over there is space, and just right back there, you manage to see many more beers on the wall. I really don't know which one I'm going to order because I see that there are many. But the one that catches my eye is this one here called Artico, which is the beer called Artico. This is the one with 4.5%, and the normal is worth about 80 crowns, which would be approximately 8 euros. Look, we were ordering 2 beers. This one here is called Arctic beer. It is the most common one you can find in Tromsø, and we were asking for a second one that I don't remember the name of, but the 2 beers cost 27 euros. One costs 15 and the other costs 12. They are good. Both are good in themselves. The only thing is the price. 27 euros for 12 beers. Yes, it is expensive. Tromsø is a very touristy city. I would even dare to say that it is the most touristic within the Arctic Circle. Every year, thousands of people come in search of the northern lights. In our case, we were not very lucky. Although we set sail in search of them, we did not find them. But I think it is a reason to return. Just arriving at the northern town is undoubtedly one of the most amazing things I have done. Besides, coming from an island like Cuba, this was my first time experiencing these temperatures. The polar night is a phenomenon that amazes anyone who does not live in these latitudes. And it is an experience that I will remember for the rest of my life. My trip to the north does not end here. In the next video, I will tell you about the life of a native culture from this region of the planet. I invite you to subscribe now so you don't miss any of my adventures. And if you like this video, please give me a like right now. We will reach 10,000 likes. Well, The only thing you have to do is give it a like. And as I always tell you, see you in a few days with a new video.